Everyone has a story, but not everybody knows where their story starts. I can recall as a child, my father used to drive me over to this side of Warren County to look up on the top of the hill to see the plantation. My father used to always tell us that this is where the Brown family lineage started. These are the same cotton fields that my ancestors worked in from the 1800s, still growing cotton today. As of 2001, I now own the property. My ancestors can now rest peacefully to know that the actual property that they built is now owned by a descendant of them. My name is Patrick Brown. I am a fourth-generation farmer and operator of Brown Family Farms located in Henderson, North Carolina. We are currently in the Oakley Grove Plantation, where my great-great-grandfather, Byron C. Brown, was born. During the winter of 1865, while being in the woods with his sister Flora and his brother Milton, a Confederate soldier walked up to them and asked them who did they belong to. Byron replied, stating that he didn't belong to anyone. And the Confederate soldier stated, well, whoever owns you, let them know that the war is over. Byron eventually moved to the other side of Warren County, and he went to work at another plantation. The documents state that they were able to have land willed to them at the death of that owner. The first amount of land that was willed to Byron is where we currently farm now. This is a 11-acre plot of land. This particular field is part of the main area of Brown Family Farms. These are our vegetable plots here. This particular field is a lacinato kale variety that may end up in a local fresh market or grocery store. It means a lot to be able to have the land passed down and still be active. My goal is to pick up where my father left, but add different types of value into the operation side of the business, where we're now into a commodity structure of the actual assistance for growing certain commodities for the United States. Allows our operation to grow and be a little more diversified. I did not always have the vision to be a farmer. What I wanted to do when I graduated from high school was to get as far away from this area as I could, because I had been working in the fields since I was 10 years old. I had saw what it takes to maintain a farm, and I knew that that particular life wasn't for me. I wanted to find my own way. I attended Fayetteville State University, where I majored in business administration with a concentration in finance. And when I graduated in 2005, I immediately went to Washington, D.C. area. And that way I was able to actually see outside of Warren County and the farm life. The light switch that really changed my thought process was when my dad became ill.
All right, y'all, the paper plates over there, the utensils over there.
They're coming inside.
You ready to eat, Daddy?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You ready?
I really kind of understood, like, my father's really becoming sick and no longer can really manage a 165-acre farm. So yeah, this photo here is, it reminds me of, you know, the way that I try to teach Clayton at a young age that he can do whatever he imagines. It doesn't matter how old you are, because our father started us out so early. Even when my dad didn't know I was paying attention to him, I was learning how to run a 7-shift gear tractor just by sitting over his shoulder looking and watching. What I learned from my father growing up was hard work. Getting up early in the morning, sometimes getting home late at night, still being able to be a father at the end of the day. And when I read about his father and his grandfather, I understand where that came from. And I do not know how much they had to go through before my father to keep the land and retain it. So it would be a disservice for me as a steward of it to let it slip away. Back when my dad was farming, it was based on farming to survive. He brought the value of growth by expanding the operation and adding more acres to the property. My father, growing up, was mostly row crop farming. We did grain, tobacco, and livestock. Throughout the years, I would see that he would have to put more of his own money into the crop and also ask for assistance. And when it's time to pay that microloan back at the end of the year, there were hardly any profit available. And a lot of times that can cause a farm to lose its acreage. Thankfully, we did not have that issue, but I saw my father struggle each and every year, which is also why the land is so important to me. Diversification in farming is one of the most important parts of farming. In these days and time during my generation of farming is where you don't have an opportunity to just focus on one crop. You gotta focus on multiple crops in order to make a profit. I had a game plan, doing things a little different to change the landscape of our farm, the business model, and the outlook of what I plan for the farm to look like in the next 10, 15 to 20 years. So in 2015, I sat down with my mother and we went over some things that we could do a little differently in farming that could actually benefit the land as well as the environment. And that process is called regenerative agriculture program. That regenerative agriculture program focused more on conservation. I wanted to shift away from those commodity growing practices and incorporate a high carbon fixated plant, and what we chose was industrial hemp. The difference between hurd and fiber. So hurd is going to be your stalk, and on the outer stalk of the hurd is going to be the fiber. Fibers make wovens, while herds create processes to make non-woven material, like manufacturing products, while woven makes like plastic replacements, textile, fabric, ropes, but is the next most resilient product that a farmer can grow to help the earth. Hemp is a versatile crop with versatile markets and opportunities. The non-wovens can create building materials, where the wovens can create textiles. And two different industries can help energy, it can help global warming, it can create jobs, and it can give us an opportunity to focus on eliminating the resources that we always been accustomed to. Under the North Carolina pilot program, industrial hemp became approved in 2015. Our first grow year was 2016. We started out with 18 acres of industrial hemp, and eventually we transitioned that wellness hemp into a woven material hemp. And in that transition, we went from tillage to no-till. And that regenerative process allowed us to input carbon sequestration. And what that does is it traps carbon from that plant into that soil, creating microbes that release less gas into the ozone, which could help with global warming. So the concept of no-till is basically to not disturb the soil as much as possible, and to be able to rotate a crop into that practice each and every season. What we're doing right now is cleaning the field up to be able to no-till into this year's crop. This crop, it can give us the opportunity to be able to receive credits from the government and save small farms like myself that can't keep up with large farms that focus just on commodities. My mother, she's no longer here with us now. However, the vision of what we had wrote down is still prevalent to this day. And I know that she's looking down on us and she's proud of the process that we made. And it's my motivation to continue to succeed, continue to stay passionate, and to add all different aspects to the farm. What my vision is in the next 10 years is that we're able to renovate this property to its fullest potential and be able to host weddings, be able to host family gatherings, and be able to host tours. It gives us an opportunity to be able to open up our plantation to visitors that want to learn about plantations and not look at the negative stigma to a plantation, but actually be able to want to research their own history and open doors for their family to know or find out where they originated. It's very important what we do here to teach the youth to understand how that works so that they can continue to run the business in the future. This 4th generation farming aspect needs to go all the way to 10 generations or 11 generations or 12 generations. We are a centennial farm right now, but we want to continue that from 100 years in business to over 200, 300, or